Friends, Greg Newmaster coming at you again with another action figure review. Today I have Marvel Legends Maximum Series Spider-Man. If you like the video, please like and subscribe and help me to build my channel. Thank you very much. So Marvel Legends Hasbro is diving into the realm of collector's series figures. They want to improve on their figures, it seems like. They want to charge more money, and they want to do it like the imports. SH Figuarts, Mafex. Pick your series. Pick your brand. So, this Spider-Man here is the OG McFarlane Spider-Man. I missed out on the original version when I was younger. And it is so expensive now. I have many different versions of this, but I don't have the original McFarlane Spider-Man. This is the Fearsome Foes Spider-Man with a head swap. So it is the same body. I actually like the Fearsome Foes because you get the little web in the armpits. I always like that look on Spidey. But this is from the black and red Spider-Man. That's why the head is just a little bit darker, but it's the same sculpt, same painting. It's just the lines are a little bit darker. So this is as close as I have to the original McFarlane Spider-Man from Toy Biz. So when they were coming out with a Maximum series and I saw that it looked like the McFarlane Spider-Man, I had to get this. I couldn't miss out on it. One of my favorite looks for Spider-Man of all time. So this is clearly a tribute to McFarlane, Todd McFarlane, the very famous Spider-Man Spawn artist of the late 80s and the early 90s. One of my all-time favorite artists. He's just spectacular. There's one of his posters on my wall there. That's a McFarlane. Sorry, it's kind of shiny with the light. But anyhow, so here we have the Maximum Spider-Man. This is a $50 figure. The Japanese imports are $100. This is the Mafex version. Right now, I think this is the best Spider-Man figure that's ever been made. In the 6-inch scale. This is more indicative of Mark Bagley in sculpt and appearance, which I love because that was the Spider-Man of the 90s. But let's get a look at this Maximum Spider-Man. So there's the top of the box, there's the side of the box, there is the back of the box, really nice image. Straight up pulling the McFarlane poses out of the comics there. There's that side, and there's the bottom. So, nice collector's box. And let's pull him out here and get a good look. Accessories. There's just different comic panels on the inside there. Just a tribute to Marvel. Not too much to see. So, let's get him out and see what we got here. So first of all, they promised like a completely new sculpt. So here is the Renew Your Vows body sculpt. Obviously, this is the black costume Spider-Man, but I didn't want to pull any of my other ones down because I have them like set up, and if I pull them out, it'll knock over a bunch of them. I really love this body sculpt. Is this new one much better than this one? He looks less buff, we'll put it that way. He looks he looks very McFarlane-like. So let's see. He looks slender in the abdomen. I liked the jacked thighs. I thought it worked really well. in the black costume Spider-Man, but for all of the regular Spidey figures, he was a little bit too buff with this body sculpt. So his thighs look slender. His torso, he looks slender. He doesn't quite look as slender as the original McFarlane Spider-Man, which, in my opinion, was almost a perfect figure except for these hips in terms of look. These like ball joints kind of look weird in the hips, but it gives you great articulation and movement. So this is a pretty darn close to a perfect figure. I'm not sure. That's what he looks like from behind. Let's see what he can do. So he's got the drop down hips, and that's kind of weird looking when he does that. But I guess you get more dynamic posing. So we got the pinless joints first of all, so that's a nice upgrade. Kind of stuck on mine, so am I gonna have to heat him up? Probably. There we go. All right, so got the double jointed knees there, and see right now as I'm like bending that, his calves are like coming detached, so it's a little bit of gapage there. I don't like that. But yeah, so then we can get him in the crouch. So they brought back new feet. They're bigger feet, and then they have the toe articulation, which is just like the old school Toy Biz version. So we get some nice posing there with the drop hips. Just want to be very careful. He's new out of the package. So how can we do a back bend? And then we can crunch forward that far. Is that better than the Renew Your Vows crunch? The Renew Your Vows kind of looks a little bit better in terms of a crunch, but not bad. Rotation in the torso. So you get 2 points of articulation in the crunch. What else do we get? We get the butterfly joints. So, they've had those for a while now. They look good, not too bad. We get 2 points of articulation in the neck, which is like Mafex. So Mafex is like, this head is just nice and loose. You have all this movement. This is not loose at all. I can't really tilt the head to the side. So not quite the same as like Mafex. Like, look at what I could do there. Not a lot of movement there in his neck. Looks up, looks down that far. Doesn't look too bad underneath. It's on a ball joint. Single ball. Now, just look at the level of detail. They even seal these gaps like really well. Like there's a little lip underneath the mask. Like it actually looks like a mask that's covering his neck. This is on the Mafex. This is the level of detail. And there's his butterfly joints. So we're not quite. Here's the drop down hips there, and it's still like smooth and aligned. So you can get the great posing in the Bagley Spider-Man, the Mafex Spider-Man. Also, you get the feet with the magnets, which I love. You can attach them to surfaces. You don't get that with this Maximum Spider-Man. You get a thigh cut. Yeah, so when I put the hips back into place, I don't know. They kind of stick out a little bit compared to the Renew Your Vows. So I actually think they had it better on the Renew Your Vows body sculpt. What else? So the shoulders. The plastic feel is kind of soft. It doesn't feel very durable, so that kind of worries me. Maybe a little bit on the cheaper end. So there's the double jointed elbows. We have wrist like rotation. I don't like that. I think that's a little bit too much. If it's just in the wrists and not like the upper forearm, so it's forearm rotation. And I don't like it when it's in the boot as well as the hip. It's just a little bit too much. So a little bit extra unnecessary articulation, in my opinion. That's what he looks like from behind. When you pose him, you pull the shoulders back with the butterfly joints. You know, they took care to put the little line in the logo there, so I appreciate that. That's what it looks like with the head down. So we got some new feet. Like, how do the feet compare? So a little bit more comic accurate, so I appreciate that. So he's a good-looking figure. He looks, I guess the big selling point is the mask. So, I mean, that looks like Todd McFarlane's artwork. And if you love McFarlane, which I do, it looks really good. All right, so what else do we get? We get a ton of accessories for this. I was extremely excited to see that you get the web shield. I always loved that feature where Spider-Man could do a web shield, like in the video games and like in the comics. So that's cool that he has a web shield. So I'm really happy he has that effect. Accessory. What else? We get, yeah. If I can pull it out here. Struggling. So we get an alternate head sculpt with one of the eyelids closed a little bit and the other one open. I always appreciated in the new Spider-Man movies how the lenses moved with Tom Holland's Spider-Man. So we get a spider sense effect, which I love. That's great. My spidey sense is tingling, so you gotta have that. So that's fun. What else? Swap the head out. I prefer the other head sculpt, so I'll keep that one on, but you also get the spider sense tingling effect. So if you want to pose your figure with that. And then we get a we get the Peter Parker head sculpt, which that's a McFarlane looking Peter Parker head. Not bad. He does have like the 80s haircut, the longer hair, a little bit more poofy. So it's not bad. Pop that on. He's kind of a happy Peter. He's smiling. He's not anxious or just the neutral. So that's what he looks like. He even has like the little mullet on the back, just slightly small 80s 90s mullet, but he's good. I like the head sculpt. I'm not sure if it's my favorite of all time, but it's a nice head sculpt. So we get a bunch of hands and web effects. So we get this nice big web effect, which I think is fun. So we get that. And this is a giant glob of web. You know, when I was a kid and I would play with my Spider-Man action figures, saran wrap, that was the best way to create webbing. You just use saran wrap, and you can do all these things that, you know, these expensive plastic sculpts are doing. All right, so we get, what else do we get? We get a bunch of web shooting hands. So you get these two hands with the webbing coming out, which are pretty cool. probably display my Spidey with those hands. It's pretty awesome. Then you get other flip hands, web shooting hands without the webbing coming out. And then you get some holding hands, so you can hold the webbing with those hands. And then, you even get a little stand for the webbing. So you can put that on here. And then I think it goes with, it goes with this webbing. Which is fine. I don't know if I'd want to display him shooting, just shooting a big glob of web. But more power to you. I love that they gave us ungloved web shooting hands. The only thing I don't like is that they didn't articulate these wrists. They could have done that. Now it makes sense why the forearms have articulation in them, so you can put these on. Silly me, excuse that error. So you can pop those off and put these on like so, and you can show Spidey in getting ready mode to go save the day. I just always thought that was so cool in comic books as a kid, and I still don't feel like they've quite captured it in the movies, especially because they're always like super armored looking costumes versus just like a cloth suit where they wear the suit underneath their costume, and they'd be in different levels of like undress, which I thought was just so interesting to see in the comic books, like how they did it. But I love that they included the ungloved web shooters with his hands. I just think that's awesome. So kudos to you, Hasbro, for doing that. So you can sort of have, Peter Parker half ready to go. And then you get, some spaghetti webbing, which is very flexible. The spaghetti style webbing, which McFarlane started to draw the webbing like this, and which has become iconic, and now that's how Spider-Man's web is always drawn. So this is awesome, the spaghetti webbing. So, and I really like how thin and loose it is, which is really cool. It's not like a hard plastic. So that's a lot of fun. And then you get the crouching or sticky hands position where he's wall crawling. So wall crawling hands or crouching hands like so. So he looks fantastic. So you have a lot of fun things to do with this Spidey. You get all these different, you get 3 different head sculpts. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different hands. You get the spider sense. Now the question is this better than the OG version? I mean, look, you had articulated fingers in the old one back in the day, which was awesome. Like so much, a little bit too much articulation. Is this worth $50? Is it worth getting? If you're a Spider-Man fan, this is absolutely worth getting. If you're a Todd McFarlane fan, combined with Spider-Man, then this is absolutely worth getting. I love this figure. I'm so sad that I couldn't get the original McFarlane Spider-Man, even though that's technically not its name. He's originally Superposable Spider-Man, I think, was the very first one. And then there was a couple other ones that came out. But anyhow, I vowed that I would not miss out on getting this Spider-Man, the Maximum Spider-Man. So is it worth it? Yes. Is it that much improvement worth $50? No, I don't think that. Like, I could actually do without some of these accessories. Is it better than the Mafex Spider-Man? I would say no. I would say this is the best 6-inch Spider-Man figure of all time so far, and Hasbro has not yet surpassed this. So stick with the imports if you want the best Spidey ever. But as a Spider-Man collector, is it worth having? Absolutely. So I highly recommend it. This is the Maximum Spider-Man from Marvel Legends. God bless you all. Peace.